Greetings, I am Herbert Erpaderp, and it is once again time for Ask a Herbert Erpaderp, the most Herbert Erpaderp Askinist video series in all the West. And the East too. Background video is pretty cool this week. On Saturday I went for a ride on this beastie. It was a gift from my mother and sister, and it was really fun. But I'll talk a bit more about it and obviously show more of it in a standalone video, hopefully sometime this week. Okay, not much else to say here, onto some questions. Top Bunk Productions said, can you count to 10 in German? I think so. If I remember my basic German from school, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I think that's right, although I'm sure my pronunciation is garbage toilets. Duncanuva said, do you listen to music when you build models? Not usually. When I'm building models, I normally prefer to watch streams or YouTube videos. Partly because when I listen to music, I try to do things in time with it, and that doesn't really work so well for modelling for me. It's also why you might notice some odd mouse or camera movements when I'm streaming and there's music. I also have a ton of stuff in my YouTube Watch Later playlist, and it's kind of nice to feel like I'm chipping away at that. I also feel like it just makes better background noise than music. Music distracts me a little bit too much, I think. Top Bunk Productions has another more serious question. He said, I would really like to donate to you on Patreon, but I'm worried about the site's security, especially after hearing about a cyber attack in the past. Can I trust the website with my financial details? To be honest, I think there's a bit of a conflict of interest here. Obviously it's in my best interests to say yes, go ahead and pledge all of your money on Patreon, but you should make those decisions yourself. I'm not going to tell you who to trust or what to do with your money or your financial details. That said, I haven't had any issues with Patreon myself, and I've been using it for quite a while now. I've been a patron of Loading Ready Run since they started, which is quite a few years before I had my own Patreon thing going on. I would suggest if you're worried, maybe use PayPal, which I do believe is an option, or like I do, use a debit card linked to its own bank account. That's what I use for anything online that needs a credit card. I transfer money to that account when I want to use it, so if someone does get a hold of that card info, there's no money in the account anyway. Someone said they would assume keeping your details safe would be a big concern for Patreon, and that's probably true. It probably is a big concern for them. It's not good for business if their security is garbage, but I do suggest being careful and doing your research when it comes to things like that. There are other options if you want to give me money though, like subscribing on Twitch or donating through Streamlabs, which is Twitch related, though that's not quite the same as doing so through Patreon. On last week's Ask a Herbert Erpaderp, Stoigen Freugen said, okay, wow, that was a really in-depth answer for my question. I understand what you mean completely. Maybe painting for me is a quick job and I have a lot of time. And related, the Tourette's Gamer said, shame that some people don't understand the time it takes to paint properly, although I normally paint my models as soon as they're built, but I'm still quite an amateur model painter so my models look mediocre anyway. It was a bit of an in-depth answer. I figured I might as well do that so that I can copy and paste the explanation later, because it's something that does come up every now and then. It's quite okay to not understand things like that right away. I mean, everybody is different in the way they do their hobby and all, so like the Tourette's Gamer, some people paint their stuff right away and quickly, and some don't. And the way you spend your time is entirely on you, and you should definitely spend it how you see fit. I guess it's not so much a matter of people being unable to understand, it's just that they don't yet understand. And it's rare to have somebody be all like, Herda, you're just being shit because I can't comprehend other people's views, or whatever. The wargaming and modelling community is generally pretty cool and understanding. Halo Manon said, how did you come up with your name and profile picture? I got the name from a very old Loading Ready Run sketch. I think it might have been when they were doing a somewhat comical gaming news thing on The Escapist. They were doing a sketch about voice actors for old 8-bit games or something like that, and one of the characters was named Herbert Erpaderp, and he spoke like or something like that, and I thought the name was entertaining so I stole it. Initially, I used the name for one of my first pet mice, who happened to be quite a derpy fellow, and at some point I decided to start using it as a username, probably because it's quite silly but still sounds kind of like a name. The profile picture is just a variation of the sprue logo thing with the full name that I made a 3D model of. I thought it nicely reflected that models are my main focus. The H and E in the sprue model was initially just for the watermark which I render into the video itself, but I figured it would make a nice display picture and be consistent with the rest of my stuff. My old display picture used to have a KV2 silhouette which I quite liked, I just couldn't really figure out a way to combine it with the sprue images nicely, and in a way that satisfied me. James Valentine said, "If KV2 is glorious Stronkus Tonk with Stalinium armor, and shells blessed by Stalin's mustache, what is a captured KV2? Does Stalinium and mustache blessing still work? Does the great derp gun not care for whom the derp bell tolls? Or does the spirit of Stalin curse all pretenders to derpdom?" This is an important question. I'm sure Stalin didn't have many issues with killing his own, so in my opinion, all targets are fair game for KV2. As long as enough dissidents have been sent to Gulag, KV2 will have blessing of Stalin and shell will be guided into weakest part of filthy enemy, who, having been capitalist in eyes of Stalin, shall snuff it. What a terrible accent. Talkative Whiterun Guard said, "I'd like to ask, where do you store all your models? And how do you keep them clean? I always have trouble keeping the dust out, etc. P.S. Here's a model I did. It's not military, but I hope you like anyways." I will share the model at the end with the other models. As for storage, I've shown my model storage stuff before, but I might as well show it again. I have a bunch of these plastic boxes from Kmart, which were like $7 or $8 or something. These are just for storage, mostly my 28mm stuff. They're not at all glamorous, but they do keep the dust out. Some models also go in these display cases that I got from Daiso. I don't have very many of these at the moment, but I do plan to get some more. In addition to those, I have 2 bags I use for transporting my armies. This one from Battle Foam is for Flames of War models. It's pretty good, and I've heard that Battle Foam stuff just keeps getting better. It is kind of expensive though. This black bag is for my bolt action stuff. It's made by Laser Touch and was just a little bit cheaper than the Battle Foam one. Still not exactly cheap though. Some stuff, mostly 15mm tanks, also go in these drawers. These are intended for documents, I think, but they work well for this too. Dust is always a challenge. Often I find myself having to brush dust off my models, even ones that I'm currently working on. In fact, I have a clean, soft 1-inch brush that I use just for brushing dust away. Harry Robinson said, "How do we post pictures of our models to show on Ask a Herbert Erpaderp? I'm not a great modeler, but I'd like to show some of my models." You'll need to join the Discord server. That's free and easy enough. There's an invite link you can click in the description of my videos. It has been a long time since I started with Discord, but I think it's pretty simple. It probably prompts you to create an account or log in or whatever. Once you get through that, you should be in the Herbert Erpaderp server, which has a bunch of different text and some audio channels that you'll be able to access, and take part in whatever discussions are going on there. You can access Discord through a browser, or you can download a standalone client like I've done. It's pretty small and non-intrusive, and that's what I like about it. Anyway, the miniatures channel is where you would put pictures of models, which I think makes sense. Feel free to share dank memes or music too if you want. I suppose links in the YouTube comments work too, but there's no guarantee I'll put them in Ask a Herbert Erpaderp, and I might not even see them. So I would really prefer the images to be posted in Discord. Makes it a bit easier for me too. And now, let's look at some miniatures from the community. First, here's Talkative Whiterun Guard's Ferrari California. I know nothing about Ferraris, but it's red, so this is undoubtedly a very fast one. The big boy has posted a lot of Gundams. Is Gundams the plural? Or is it Gundam? I have no idea. Either way, the first one is a real grade 1/144th Justice Gundam. This one is a high grade 1/144th Gundam Flaros. I have no idea what the grades mean, and I probably said the name wrong. The third one is a high grade 1/144th RX-77-2 gun cannon. I guess it's called that because it has what appears to be 2 huge, very sensible cannons on its shoulders. Then, this real grade Quanta. I assume this one is a little bit slower than the rest because it's not red. One last Gundam, this purple guy. I think my favourite feature is the big butt shield. Gotta protect that ass. I think you certainly have an addiction there, the big boy. You probably don't need to go to rehab for it though. Top Bunk Productions shared this Tiger 1. It's an Italeri model in 1/72nd scale. Those look to be hand-painted markings. They're a lot neater than I could do. I can't quite read the writing on the front hull side. Does it say stashes as in mustaches? That's probably not it. Teyun, the pleb shared some 40k stuff. There's a bunch of his gene stealer cult with a stolen tank. They should really return the tank. And the genes. Stealing is wrong. Haha, I'm so funny! There's also his Terminator of chapter Howling Griffins. Jim the Ball shared a not-so-miniature 1/16th scale Gaz 66. His Henglong Panther is also in the picture because why not? Everyone likes to panth. There's also a 15mm Raupenschlepper for scale, so you can see just how big these things are. RC models are cool, and they totally still count as miniatures. Viking Modeler, which is a pretty cool name, shared this Dragon 1/35th scale Jagdpanzer IV. This is a really cool model. I especially like the roughed up and missing shirtsen. Excellent work. Duncanuva shared what he calls the most annoying build ever, this LCM and Sherman from Airfix. When you say Airfix, I'm inclined to agree that it probably wasn't the best build. It might not be a pair of good models, but it seems he's making the best of it with plans to paint them all rusty and abandoned, which I think is a great idea. There's also this Trumpeter vehicle. He's labelled it as a USMC, but I think there should be more to the name than that, but it's too modern for me to identify. And there's this Corsair, which is also going to be abandoned. I'm looking forward to seeing what you come up with for these. Ratto had a game of Infinity, Nomads vs Japanese Sectorial Army. Infinity looks to be a really colourful and vivid game, and it kind of reminds me of some video games. For anyone wondering, like I was, the tanks and vehicles are only for scenery. For the final picture of the week, Jihad Teppo shared this T62. This is the Tamiya model and it looks awesome. Good strong tank. The weathering is quite subtle and nice, but if I had one criticism it would be that the wheels are a bit clean. Maybe you could put a little bit of dust on them. Otherwise, awesome work. Everyone has done some excellent work, and I hope this inspires some of you to get working on whatever you've got sitting on your benches. I know it makes me want to paint, though at the time of writing this I would prefer to go to sleep instead, but when I wake up, paint time. Excellent. One more thing before I go, this week we have 2 new patrons, Graham Rigg and Max. Graham and Max, you guys are rad. Thank you both for your support. It's awesome and it means a lot to me. I hope you both enjoy all the Patreon-y things. Thanks a lot. If you want to be excellent like Graham and Max, you too can head over to patreon.com/Herbert Erpaderp, and for as little as $1 per month you can see my videos early, take part in polls, as well as some other patron-only things like outtakes. If that's not your thing, that's cool. There are other things you can do too, like subscribing here on YouTube, following me on social media, or watching me livestream on Twitch. There are links to all of those things, including the Discord, in the description below. As always, I shall return soon. So, until then, keep being awesome, and thanks for watching. Farewell. I'm comfortable.